Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with Joey.
Howdy, howdy.
We're continuing from the last episodes, except this is more topical, so I might actually put it in front of the other episodes, but whatever. We're talking about the Nintendo Direct. Have you
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
have you watched the Nintendo Direct?
I sure have.
Cool, because there was absolutely nothing exciting in it.
I mean,
Absolutely
there's
nothing.
one thing. There's one thing for you that is all right.
Yeah, just all right. Just a little speed bump of excitement.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Thousand Year Door is just okay
Yeah, it's just
compared to
alright.
like some
It's not
RPGs
my,
today.
not my favorite game of all time or anything. Not the best game
I
ever.
mean,
I mean, it's not
I
like the
mean,
first game I've ever Let's Play was a Paper Mario game specifically because it's
it's
my
it's
favorite
it's
franchise,
it's
but
no
you know.
Persona 5. It's no Persona 5
Yeah,
Royal,
no
but
Persona 5
it tries its best.
No, okay, but for real, I'm actually super excited. Best game ever. Favorite
No,
game.
it's a solid game. It's not bad.
Uh,
It's shown some age, but not a lot.
it's my favorite game ever, so I'm going to consider it the best game because I'm never wrong.
Yep. There you go. There you go.
It has to be the best game if it's my favorite game ever.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, on a better side, Mario versus Donkey Kong is coming back, and that's objectively better.
Oh yeah, objectively bad. I actually really like the first game, and this is a remake of the first one, so you
And they
know,
finally announced Princess Peach's game, which actually looks. I'm a little more hyped for that than even Thousand Year Door, just
it
because
looks like
she's
Balan Wonder
looks,
World.
but like in a good way because Nintendo's making it.
I guess, but Balan
No,
Wonder
not I
World
guess,
looked really good during the trailers. It was until people
but who
played
was
it that
making it?
they
Was it
were
Nintendo? Hold on. Who made it? Nintendo? Did Nintendo make it? Did
no,
Nintendo make it, Jesse? Yes or no?
no.
No. Okay. So until you can show me definitive proof that Mario games that they make are intentionally bad when they're mainline platformers, like
Is this a
shut up.
platformer? It looks like more like a bunch of mini games.
It looks to be. Oh, Balan Wonderworld was a platformer. First off, Jesse. Second, this is a platformer, kind of like Mickey's Magical Adventure
That's
with
fun.
mini games.
It kind of seems like the Jack games where every like level is gonna be like very different from the previous. Jack 2
That's a
specifically.
good thing.
That
That
is.
that's not a bad thing. Jack Two is
I'm
considered the
not
best Jack and Daxter
detracting
game.
by saying this. I'm just saying like it looks
I
like
just want to
that
be clear.
kind of platformer where every level is gonna be a very different experience.
I just want to be clear. Like Jack and Daxter, like the second one is considered the best one by
And I
most people.
do enjoy like the variety in the Jack and Dexter games. Sly Cooper also does that a lot, where there's a wide variety in what you do in your job. It's never just it's just a platformer. No, calling Sly Cooper a platformer is a bit weird because like, I'd say like half the levels are actual platformer levels.
No, that's like Cooper is a platformer.
Yeah, I don't know.
But flipping back,
Flipping, flipping back.
F-Zero 99, not a bad idea.
You know, it's funny, Joey. When I was messaging you earlier, I was so tempted to just say, "Hey, Joey, there's a new F-Zero game," just to get you hyped, just to be like,
Well, the reason this is a good idea is because they already have that many racers racing against you in the base game.
yeah,
Why not have them be people?
yeah. And then you can have
So
somebody
I think,
be. Then you have a reason to be super salty and scream when somebody murders you in that game.
well, I mean, it's a fun series.
Yeah.
You don't go wrong with it too often. It's just I do wish that they would finally unlock GX from the GameCube because just like with Metal Gear Solid 4, it's trapped on that system.
Okay. So there is one game that was announced that I'm like, okay, I think this might be like a really good game, but not enough people are talking about it. It's Unicorn Overlord.
Your
Because
watch fans are here.
oh sorry,
Watch fans are here.
Unicorn Overlord?
yeah, did you not see that during the trailers?
No, I didn't. One sec.
It's by Atlas and Vanillaware, and it looks like Ogre
Oh,
Battle,
Atlas. Oh, that's why you like it.
but like Vanillaware makes good games. It's made like Odin Spear and 13 Sentinels and stuff, and then it's Atlas. And then,
It does not look like Ogre Battle. That looks very much more complex than Ogre Battle ever was.
gameplay-wise.
Even gameplay-wise, this is actually tying closer to Fire Emblem.
A game where
And,
you command people in
Advanced Wars.
RTS, and then when they touch each other, they go into an automated RPG battle. Yeah, that's just Ogre Battle. That's what
Nah.
False Kingdom
Ogre,
did.
Ogre, Ogre Battle is grid-based RPGs.
No, that's Ogre Tactics. The actual like base Ogre Battle games, like Ogre Battle 64 and March of the Bat King, are similar to False Kingdom.
Well, now I've outed you as a fanboy for Ogre Battle, so there you go.
I like your Ogre Battle games. Whatever. Oh no, Jesse likes an RTS series.
I'm so shocked.
But what was I gonna say? So you played Yu-Gi-Oh! Falsebound Kingdom. You know the gameplay of that, right?
Yeah, but I think that's more fun than Ogre Battle because Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pot of Greed, dude.
Well, what I'm
I'm going to
saying
use Pot
is
of Greed
the
to draw 3
companies
more
that
cards from my deck.
the companies that are making this game, and it's a gameplay style that hasn't been done since Falsebound Kingdom. It's like a dead RTS style. Are Atlas and Vanillaware, both two game companies that have done really great games in the past. So I'm like doing a game style that hasn't been done in a really long time. So I'm just like, yeah, this looks really good. I'm super excited for it.
I missed this one. Hold up.
Hold up.
They're making a new Saga game.
Yeah, new Saga game.
Which means everybody's going to yell at it for being too hard.
Unless they make it easy. How do you
No,
know it's going to be
Saga games, because that's the whole point of Saga games,
know.
is they're built to be hard. So of all of these lineups, I think the biggest hit is, I'm sorry, Jesse, it's Mario RPG.
So, how should I put this? I love Mario RPG, right? I definitely
It's
think
the most famous Mario RPG.
I definitely am more glad for the remake of Mario RPG than Thousand Year Door, specifically because I don't think as many people has played Mario RPG as Thousand Year Door.
That's not true, dude. It was insane. So many people played RPG. That's the whole thing here. Is like that's the entire generation of people who played Square games.
So
the reason Final Fantasy VII was so popular.
Well, I think the reason why I said that is because I think Mario RPG kind of got forgotten around, and not that many people like after.
That is also also untrue.
Forgotten about, but like I think it just kind of went out of the mental zeitgeist of everyone, and I think Thousand Year Door never left people's zeitgeist because people were constantly
That's untrue.
About it.
That is untrue.
People were complaining about the later Paper Mario games, comparing it to Thousand Year Door. So I don't think it's ever left mental.
Because here's the trick: you can get Dolphin emulators are harder to run than a fucking SNES emulator, Jesse. That's the literal only issue here.
Not a lot of people use emulators like that, though.
Jesse.
Okay, a lot of people do.
You're full of shit.
There's a huge chunk of people
Mario
who don't.
RPG.
So yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I definitely think Thousand Year Door is better.
I think that RPG is better, but just slightly. I think it's better for a lot of reasons. Namely, it does have all of the things that are in Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, and it does a lot of things better in terms of an actual turn-based strategy game, specifically through the fact that it was made by fucking Square. And their games for RPGs like that are just more polished. And it is. It's more polished than Thousand Year Door, if not by a little bit. And this one is going to leave it in the cold with the remake, because it's just going to polish it more. Because it looks like they're working with Square Enix on this. So it's going to be a blowout. This is the superior RPG in terms of cultural relevancy, in terms of lifespan. Like people still play it today a lot.
I don't think about those two. I see a lot more people playing Thousand Year Door, man. talk
Because
about
you
it.
only enjoy because you enjoy Thousand Year Door.
I enjoy
Jesse.
RPG too. You think if somebody's playing Mario RPG, I'm gonna be like, no, I'm not gonna watch that. No, of course, I'm
Over
paying
Thousand
attention
Year
for
Door
RPG
every
too.
time. Over Thousand Year Door every time. Every time.
Okay,
You
I'll
watch
offer
Thousand
it
Year
on
Door
people.
first.
I will watch both, man. I have 2 screens. I will double screen that shit.
I think you're just being a contrarian now.
No, I'm saying I just don't see it. And maybe that's just the internet algorithms being like, he seems like Thousand Year
I mean,
Door, so I'm just
I'll
gonna show
give
him
you an
that
example.
one.
I'll give you an example. Mario Thousand Year Door has sold less copies than just
No,
RPG.
everything on the GameCube is still sold less copies than it is.
That's untrue. Let me be clear here. Your console that you're fighting for right now, the GameCube, was able to play on 2 generations, so you don't get to make that argument with a game that was only on 1 generation. Because you could play a GameCube on a Wii.
Okay. Doesn't mean a lot of people
Therefore,
bought the
they
GameCube
had
games.
yes, it does. Because it led into the next generation. Therefore, they had more time to accrue sales. There's a lot of good examples of this. How many people bought Melee? Here, let's take a look at the numbers.
Melee's not a fair comparison because that has a competitive scene.
Right. My point here is there's a competitive scene in almost every game you can speedrun, and Mario and Thousand Year Door has one of the greatest speedrunning communities in video gaming.
Okay.
So, if the competition is what you're arguing about, where's your argument once I bring up the competition that exists?
Well, I don't see people speedrunning Mario RPG as much.
Then you're not looking anywhere because it's all over the place. That is literally one of the most sped run games in the community. Look it up.
Let's see.
I'll even send it your way. I'll send you the Thousand Year Door speed runs real quick. And you can look at all of the ones you want.
Yeah, no, there's almost double the 1,000 years speed runs than there are to RPG.
Oh, that was what I meant to say. Is Thousand Year Door has a competitive scene,
Yeah.
and that's what would tie it to the thing. I misspoke. So I was saying Thousand Year Door has a competitive scene that I can compare it to Melee, and this is one of the best ones.
Yeah, but I think my point was you were like, oh, it's because you could play the games on the Wii. I'm like, you can play Mario RPG on the Wii.
Yes, but you can't do it by just owning the disc already. You can't just plug in your console thing. You have to go on the shop.
Like if you own the disc already, that's not a sale. That doesn't count for what we were discussing. So
you can buy it for the console still. That's what the sale is, Jesse.
You can still
buy it, and if you already bought it, you bought it. You can't buy it for the console. Like the GameCube and the Wii both together, you can't buy it for both of them. You can only buy it for one of them. Well, for one of them, you can get it for both. Now, the difference here is RPG, if you get it on the SNES at that point, it cost so much money that that's unfeasible. So therefore, we cut it down to 1.
hold on.
You're missing the point here. The point here is this game series is popular, but it didn't do as much for the RPG community. It didn't do as much for Nintendo's longevity. It didn't tie in and bring in so many game players from not only the Japanese RPG space, but the American RPG space, the European RPG space. It helped gratify and solidify Square's spot, I think, at that point at the top of the hill, because Final Fantasy was a big thing at this point. And Final Fantasy VI, I believe, had just come out. Either it came out right before, or right after this. Either way, these were big moments. 1,000 Year Door has none of this surround. It just is a good RPG.
1,000 Year Door sold $200,000 less than Mario RPG, right? on a system that was not sold as much as the SNES. So honestly, yeah, no, I think Thousand Year Door was just like.
That seems like copium, Jesse.
I think it was.
I think that's copium.
The fact that it's this close and Thousand Year Door had the disadvantage. I think.
Oh, I mean, here's another thing too: is it's still way more expensive to buy SNES games than it is to buy GameCube games right now, at least. So you can still get those, and Wii's are still bought today. So it's the console disadvantage. But my point still stands. Mario RPG has way more surrounding it that makes it more important. Thousand Year Door is just a good RPG.
Meh.
What else did it do? Did it make the Paper Mario series relevant? No, the first game did that by itself. The second one was just good too, if not better. That's it. The series itself was set. And before that even, the reason those RPG series were able to be made was because RPG was a success. And Nintendo learned the ins and outs of making a turn-based RPG from Square while they worked together with them.
Joey, first of all, I think the gameplay of Thousand Year Door is better than RPG. RPG is rough and kind of boring.
It is not rough. It's not boring. It's really not. It has status effects just like Thousand Year Door, but its status effects are much more impactful than Thousand Year Doors.
Have you played RPG recently?
I literally have it on my console right now. Yes.
RPG.
Have you played RPG recently?
I played RPG a lot. So there's like one or two fights where the status effects truly matter.
All right, so
most of the time you're just spamming the same constantly.
while we're going down this hill, because you pivoted from my point like 3 times now, trying not to talk about it.
Let me finish here. Let me finish this point. So I think gameplay-wise, Thousand Year Door is better. Thousand Year Door. So Paper Mario was the original Paper Mario was built as a sequel to RPG. It has the timed hits. It's got a lot of similar mechanics, right?
It's not a sequel. It's a spiritual successor because it doesn't follow the story.
They started building it as it was called Mario RPG 2 in development.
Right, but that's not what it is. What I'm saying is, what is it?
I know. So the point I'm trying to make is, it is built upon Mario RPG like a sequel. Okay, it's got similar gameplay, it's got similar stuff.
But then they made it not a sequel.
I feel like is the culmination of that gameplay, of everything that Mario RPG started.
Okay, so that's one thing to its point. What else did it do for the RPG community? Because there was other RPGs coming out at the time that were equitably as good, arguably. Ones that had come up prior that I would definitely dictate were better. Xenosaga kicks it in the ass. And then there's just Xenosaga. Oh, I mean, Xenosaga, Xenogears. These games are both better than RPG in terms of storytelling, gameplay mechanics, characterizations, impact into the community of RPG making.
Impact. I see nobody talk about Xenosaga anymore. That game is gone out of people's thoughts.
I don't.
You're the first person I've heard talk about Xenosaga in years.
But you don't talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, but even on like online and stuff.
Online forums, it's everywhere, dude. I once again, this sounds like copium. I'm sorry. Like it's all over any actual dedicated RPG.
Well, I'm not saying Xenosaga didn't have its influence, but I don't think it's in the zeitgeist anymore.
That's exactly what you said.
Xenoblade.
That's exactly what that means.
Xenoblade Chronicles is the same people who did Xenosaga. It takes a lot from it.
I agree.
So it's not like it doesn't have its influence. It's just on people's brain. Most people to this day, when I tell people that Xenoblade Chronicles is a spiritual successor to a previous game series, they're like, "What?"
Yeah, because it doesn't seem like it, because the gameplay's different. But like, so what's your point?
People don't know about Xenosaga.
Well, the people you talk to, but as I said, you don't talk to many people, and you aren't in many dedicated RPG forums either. It sounds like.
Oh well, dedicated RPG forums, yeah, people know about it there.
Yeah, no, that's where it matters. That's the community. Just that's the community we're talking about right now. We're not talking about just every Joe Schmo. We're talking about a community. That was my point here. Is like the community leaped forward
Hey, have you heard
because
about
the community.
Kaiji Ultimate Survivor? Everybody knows that show. It's fantastic. Everybody knows it. It's very popular. And it's super influential. Only super hardcore anime fans know about it, though. It's like,
Oh
what?
my god! Did you just compare? You just compared this to Xenogears and
No,
Xenosaga.
that's what you sound like, though. You're like,
No,
oh
that's
yeah,
not.
it's
It's really
super
not. It's
influential. It's
really
great,
not
but
comparable.
only RPG fans know about it. I'm like, wait, what?
Jesse, you've literally compared a stabbing to a mutilation. Like your point is not only nonsensical, it's disingenuous.
Thousand Year Door is known by everyone.
That wasn't what I asked you. That wasn't what I asked you.
Is
And
it
you're once again dodging my
everybody's
point.
zeitgeist?
No,
When
no,
I
no.
say
Hold up.
it's
You're
in the
dodging my point.
zeitgeist,
Hold
the
up.
cultural
You're dodging my
zeitgeist,
point. Just because you want to jerk off your favorite game doesn't mean you get to dodge my point every time you don't like what I say.
No,
No,
I'm
don't
pointing
dodge my
out that
point.
we were talking about
No,
games
no. I
being in
asked
the
a question.
zeitgeist, but
I
zeitgeist is more
asked
than
a
just a community.
I didn't just say that though. What else did I say, or did you not listen?
Okay, so what else did you say? Sorry, you're right. Maybe
I
I
had
wasn't
asked.
listening.
I had asked you what did it give to the community as an influential game that RPG didn't already do. Because the point I was making was not that it isn't known, it's that RPG is gonna be more known because of all the things it gave, so it's part of history. It's a
So,
historic game. It's not fair to compare it to a lot of other RPGs because of that. It's on the level of Final Fantasy VII. That game is that well known by people.
so
You can mention Mario RPG to them and they'll be like, oh, yeah, that one. And then they can usually bring up some of the music even off the top of their head. While Thousand Year Door has a similar concept to it, it didn't bring anything original that was necessarily intrinsic and necessary to this zeitgeist you're talking about. That was unique only to it.
So, let me ask you something. If I were to mention timed hits, what game series are you thinking of?
Let's see which one of them came out first.
It's
It
not
could be that,
about
or it
which
could be
one came out
Superstar
first,
Saga.
it's which one do you think people think about?
Superstar Saga.
Exactly. You can talk about the history, and I mentioned that like a lot of what Thousand Year Door is like train ride from RPG. But when people are thinking about it, the historical things you just mentioned, they don't matter. It's what people are
They
thinking
do.
of.
They really do. No, they really do. Like I think of Superstar Saga because they had actual time hits. I'll be honest with you, Mario RPG, they didn't have as much of a timed hit system as Superstar Saga or even Paper Mario 1.
And that's why I want to mention Thousand Year Door. It did a lot of the things Super Mario RPG did better. Maybe not music specifically, but like it did the time
Once
hits
again,
a little
we'll
bit
go
better.
back. Paper Mario did it already.
And Paper Mario did it already. So
Right. So
a
I'm
lot
asking
of
what
the
a
things you're
Thousand Year Door
saying
brings
about RPG
is not wrong. What about Thousand Year Door? You haven't answered that yet.
So a
What
lot
about
of
Thousand Year Door
people,
has
when they
added?
talk about Thousand Year Door, they think about the writing, the characters, and the world. And I
There's
know a lot
only
of
a
people
little bit
think
of good
about
writing.
that when they think about RPG.
There's not a whole lot of good writing in RPG either. I'm gonna concede. There's not good writing in the Paper Mario series majorly. That's why Super is one I like because it actually has semblance of okay writing.
So,
But even then, it's not great.
what to you is good writing?
Well, I mentioned Xenogears, Xenosaga,
No. More
even Xenoblade.
specifically, what are you looking for in good writing?
I look for cohesion in the writing scheme, consistency in the character progression, consistency in the character progression physically as well. I look for characters to actually have a connection outside of the singular games that they're in together. I look for characters not to disappear between games because that dictates cohesion is lost, which happens a lot in your Mario RPGs, paper and otherwise. And that's just the storytelling aspects. I don't like Mario doesn't need to talk for any of those to exist. By the way, those can all exist surrounding him, but they don't.
And yeah, I know a lot of people like the writing in Thousand Year Door, even though it doesn't have a lot of the things you want, because the what you're looking for in writing isn't always what everyone else is looking for in writing, right? When it comes
So
to
who are you talking to that's telling you that the writing is good? Don't say everybody too. That's not an answer. That's a non-answer.
a lot of let's say Let's Players I've watched mention how much
Okay,
they
so
enjoy the writing.
which Let's Players are you watching that are saying this?
Oh, I watched Wooly the other day. I watched ProZD the other day. I was watching Nico B. He played through it. Pretty much every time I see
Okay,
a
so
Thousand Year Door Let's Play, I watch it.
are
So
these
let me
people
finish
okay?
let me
So
finish what I'm
right,
talking about. So when it comes to Family Guy, right? This is a kind of a little non sequitur, but I think it's a point. Do you think it's good when Family Guy gets super serious episodes, like that one Thanksgiving episode?
I think it can be if they have cohesion within it, but if they don't, it is not good because it feels forced.
So for me, when it comes to Mario, there there are serious moments, right? But I think what
Right.
people like about Thousand Year Door over Super Paper Mario is that it takes place in the same Mario universe and expands on it in ways that still make sense for Mario.
The reason Super Paper Mario's story even kind of makes any sort of sense is multiverse theory is pulled into play in this
I
world.
think that kind of
And the
disconnects people from the story a little bit more
no,
than
no,
they
no,
would
because the
like.
whole point of Mario's issues with its Paper Mario storytelling is there's no connection to your world. You don't go back to areas you were in Paper Mario 1, in Paper Mario 2, but you're still in the same world. Why wouldn't you go back to these areas where you have allies and friends that would help you? That is not sensically any type of sense made there. But if you were to have to go to alternate universes, which in a world where shit like that has happened, like other things that are crazier have happened, like a giant sword dropping from the sky from a god, fuck it, whatever. But it's a way to force that to make narrative sense because that's the only way they can make any type of narrative sense at that point is they have to force it. But not utilizing past experiences. That's the same shit people used to get on like God of War 1 and 2 for. Like where's his gear? Where's the story arcs? Where are the people he met? Where's all this shit? What the fuck? It's why Majora's Mask had to be where it was
So
because otherwise, why didn't Link go and get help from
I'm
Impa?
not
Why didn't he
100%
go get help from
done
Zelda?
with my point, though.
I just had to interject there and
I know.
dictate why that's not necessarily the same.
So I think my point is, when you go into RPG, you see stuff like the Big Sword, you see Geno, you see all these like weird characters that you will never ever see again. The Mario RPG might as well take place in another universe.
Right.
Thousand Year Door does not take place in another universe. When you play, let's just take Goombella, one of the first characters you meet. She's a Goomba. She is a unique Goomba with her own personality that expands on the existence of Goombas as a whole.
Right, and that's not my issue. I
No.
had stated that I had a different issue, so just keep
Hold
that in
on.
mind.
Let me finish what I'm talking about. The way this game expands on the existence of characters in as a whole in the Mario universe, it does it in a likable, it does it in a way that's interesting, it does it in a way that people love. And sometimes, and not just that, but sometimes just in like the mini stories, like Mario goes in on a wrestling thing or Mario becomes a detective on a train. Those are
Those are
fun.
both major stories.
Those are fun, likable things that are like interesting to see Mario, our boy Mario, in, because
I
this
agree.
seemed like the kind of goofy shit he would get into. That's why people love the writing in Thousand Year Door, because it does that kind of thing perfectly.
It's not writing, that's set piecing, though.
Set piecing is part of writing.
That
Taking what would otherwise be um, just like a generic Toad character and giving them personality expands upon Toads in general, and that can be a very
It hasn't
interesting, likable
it
amount of
hasn't
writing.
it hasn't given Mario any distinctive personality though, other than just he's
It
Mario.
doesn't have to. It can
Right,
just do
right.
that with everyone else if it has
There's
to.
my point. Is like you have all these different personalities in here, and while they are fun to see, they are not intrinsically well written characters.
But I think to Super Paper Mario. And Super Paper Mario feels like a completely different plot that Mario's just watching. It's not
No,
expanding.
I disagree. I don't think it's great or anything, but I think you're thinking. I think it is. Uh, I think that the whole point that you're missing here in the story arc is that Mario wrote himself into a pit with the style of storytelling they had chosen. And I'm going to be real here. We're pivoting now. All of their RPGs, all of their RPGs wrote them into this hole where they had to write both linear and not linear at the same time because they kept on doing these pivots to different random shit all the time, and that's something that it seems like Mario is observing than being a part of. Like, okay, I'm a detective on this train, but like I just came from being a wrestler, so this is less. He's a dedicated story arc element, and more I've been thrown into a situation where I'm just watching things go down, and that one literally is. You're kind of just watching things go down too. When you're stuck into Super, the reason that it well, if they actually had a good writing team, it could have worked. Is they forced your hand by giving you a loss at first, like usual, but they made it make sense that you're thrown into a variety of nonsensical situations by doing the only way it could make sense: random fucking verses. Because otherwise, this shit don't make sense, man. Like cohesion is lost. Now it's fun. I'm not going to argue that it isn't fun. That's not my point that I'm trying to say here. But I am going to say, like, writing wise, the characters in the world only like I can name I can name like a handful maybe at most that have like full character progression. And the majority of them are party members, which you have to learn more about. In any RPG, that's a bare minimum. If they don't do that, they failed. I think Thousand Year Door, and honestly, the Paper Mario series in general, could have done good if they hadn't gone where they went with their game. Like the first three were phenomenal, and they had a chance to. Because let's be clear, the Paper Mario series is part of the legacy of Mario RPG. That is part of the thing that it put into the zeitgeist. It could have been better if they knew how to develop games, and it's indicative of how they made their games after the first three. Which is unfortunate because, yes, Thousand Year Door is exceptionally fun. Super Paper Mario is very fun. Paper Mario 1 is very fun. Super Mario RPG is very fun. The hopes from this coming back, and the reason it's going to sell so much is because there's a lot of gamers from that generation. Not only our generation, like yours and mine, right?
Right.
Like, not just millennials, but like you have a few Gen Alpha that would have played it because they're Gen X parents, and those Gen X parents who played it. Like Mario RPG covered 3 generations. The Thousand Year Door covered our generation and Gen Alpha, I believe. I think Gen Alpha might have been able to hit it when they were younger, but our generation for sure was hit by Thousand Year Door. 3 generations probably have been hit by Super Mario RPG, and that's dissemination. It's why Final Fantasy VII, even though it's not the greatest, it's one of the most important Final Fantasies ever made, and that's just inarguable of what it added to the pot. What it gave to the soup was so important that even though it doesn't age as well as Final Fantasy 9 or 10 or 12, it's the pieces that fell off of the part are too delicious to not talk about. So while I think Thousand Year Door, and I think this is where you were misinterpreting it, is an amazing RPG, and it's very fun, alongside Super and Paper. I think Mario RPG is too important, not just as a Mario RPG, but as an RPG series. Like, there's no way it rocked the entire boat when they showcased it. Like, and I've not been seeing the boat rock as much for Paper Mario Thousand Year Door comparatively as a Mario RPG, even if they were just porting it, which they already did. But that was the baseline. So I do think RPG is more important. And that's definitely a partial because of not just the history that it added, but what it gave to RPGs in general. It gave things to RPGs that helped make them what they are today. If you want to take that away from them, that's your deal.
See,
but
it's also kind of hard for me to like tell with these remakes, like which one is more hype at the moment, because everybody is screaming about both of them.
No, I get it. I've been looking around because I was curious, actually, because you and me, I knew we would have a little bit of disagreement about this. I was feeling it in my bones. And it's definitely from Mario RPG, and it's definitely from a lot of older to younger people, not just our age to younger people.
Okay, with at least the Mario
which is Thousand Year Door.
At least with the Mario RPG bit, that's been like, this is our second trailer, and we've seen a lot more of Mario RPG remake. So that's at least a little bit.
I'm just talking about the initial release. I'm just talking about the initial trailer release. Like these are the reactions I was looking at. Like the first direct that they showcased it, because otherwise it wouldn't be fair. Because if I look at a second trailer versus a first trailer, it's not a fair comparison. First trailer versus first trailer only. Second trailer versus second trailer only. Otherwise, you don't get real comparisons.
And then how are you comparing this exactly? I kind of want to know.
I looked through various website communities. I looked through forums. Specifically, I do touch Nintendo's forums, but I don't specify in Nintendo's forums. I even go through some of Steam forums because people are talking about it there too, and that's a very big amount of the gaming community. And then I look for reactions to see like what the point that they have to say is, not just their "oh my god," but like what does this mean to them, because they'll say it. And then I look at different news sites, not just Kotaku, and I always stay away from IGN, just a note, because fuck them. That's what I tend to do when I look for comparisons on review on video game releases. Like if I'm ever doing releases, I look at what people are saying in that facet. I have to go on three fronts, otherwise it's not reliable to me. As of right now, RPG is more hype, but there's a reason that I gave you for it. It's because more people got to experience it when they were younger than Thousand Year Door was gotten to be experienced. Unfortunately.
Well, then in my brain, that means the Thousand Year Door, because I brought this up earlier that I thought the Mario RPG remake was more valuable because not enough people. That means to me, based on the thing I said earlier, that to me, I guess the Mario Thousand Year Door remake is more valuable because not enough people have played it.
Well, I somewhat agree, actually. I think that it's not going to be as hyped, though.
Because I do know
value.
Sorry, I know that's that was the kind of argument that started this argument, was me being like, oh yeah, Mario RPG is probably more important because nobody's played it.
I mean, it's more important for different reasons.
Yeah.
It is. Like, valuability to be able to play is different than valuability in
Well, you know what? You want to know what a great way to measure which one of these is more valuable, though, Joey?
Yeah.
Have both of them have remakes at the exact same time, and we can compare the remakes.
Well, unfortunately for Mario RPG, there's no point in having a remake in that style. It's like Okami. Like, why would you even need to? But also, my point here
RPG had a lot of old game jankness. Remaking it can iron a lot of that stuff out. Okami was great as it is.
That was my point with Thousand Year Door. RPG is great either way. it's there's literally they didn't need to do anything to make it better. All they would have to do is like, okay, a couple quality of life changes, which is what I expect from Thousand Year Door as well. Because there's some shit in that needs
Listen,
changing.
alls we need in Thousand Year Door is a goddamn pipe between Twilight Town and that fucking chapel. Just a single
Oh, no,
pipe.
you need a speed up button.
Speed
You need a speed up button.
Okay,
because
well,
there's
speed
entirely
up
too much
button for
gosh
all
darn random.
RPGs. All RPGs need a goddamn speed up
No,
button.
there's something.
Okay, there's
Not
some.
if they're already fast. Not if they're already fast as it is. Like that. That's my point here. Is if they're already there, they don't need.
Listen,
But like,
I was playing some Pokemon fan games. The ones with the speed up button feel so good. Just like
yeah, but that's the autism talking. So I guess my point here is that I need to make sure you understand is Thousand Year Door and RPG are not comparable in terms of their importance to the RPG
Well,
community.
I think
They're
this is
comparable
kind
in
of
terms of gameplay.
this is kind of why I always. This is kind of the point I always try to make with Dragon Quest is I always thought Dragon Quest felt more important than Final Fantasy.
I mean,
And that's why I always.
they're close.
and
Well,
that-
they're close enough in release that they actually would be like it wouldn't be a one is more important than the other anymore. And in fact, if we would say Hide Light is more important, and I really don't want to say that.
I don't know.
Oh, because like they came out within a few years of each. This is different than Super Paper, like a Mario RPG and Thousand Year Door, which is like a decade. That's different.
No, it's just one of those things because, like, you know, it's obviously you mentioned it's a spiritual sequel, but in my brain, like, Thousand Year Door is just a sequel to RPG. It just is to me. It was made at Paper Mario was made as a sequel, and Thousand Year Door
Initially,
is
but then they didn't do it.
I know they didn't do
so
it,
it's
but
not.
a lot of the bits are there, man.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't mean anything. Like, does that mean Dante's Inferno is Devil May Cry? That's stupid. No.
You know what? That's fair. You know what? That's like comparing Sticker Stars to Thousand Year Door. It doesn't matter to me.
Like, I don't know. My point here, all in all, is that Mario RPG is probably the most important RPG Nintendo's ever put out. Next to...
To be fair, it's not like they put out a lot of RPGs.
Well, their second most important one is Fire Emblem, because it created permadeath and that entire style of RPG.
Yeah, I guess Fire Emblem does count. You know what the most influential RPG of Nintendo's is? We talked about it earlier today. Yeah.
It's obviously Tokyo Mirage Session.
No, it's Pokemon. It's Pokemon, Joey.
Unfortunately. I can't deny it.
You can't deny it.
I mean, like, Mario RPG did more for the RPG community that good games, but Pokemon just makes money.
Pokemon's such an influential RPG that's influencing literally every game. Slightly.
I mean, nowadays, for sure.
Gosh, man, look at Pokemon doing nothing and yet making all the money. How can we do that?
Kindred Fates.
Oh my God, there's nothing to say about the weird indie boom of monster taming game. It's not just Kindred Fates. There's like a new monster taming game every month lately. Dear God.
Nexomon, Coromon.
Oh, are you kidding me? You want me to bring up a list? I got Monster Sanctuary. I got Dragon Spirits. I got Cassette
Just to note,
Beast.
this isn't us saying they're bad. We aren't saying they're bad.
I'm not saying they're bad. There's just a lot of them now.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we're clear about that shit.
Serial Ultimate. That's another one. I've got like 5 games on Kickstarter. If I want to pull that up, oh my God.
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Temtem. So many.
Oh, they're making a sequel to the anime games. Those random fucking action RPG games.
Monster Crown. I've got some. I've been playing a lot. Like every time one comes out, I'm like, I'm gonna give it a try.
course you freaking have.
Of course. I kind of want. I like seeing the comparisons to each other. Actually, honestly, I love comparing them to each other. Which ones are just Pokemon but worse, and which ones are actually doing interesting stuff.
Oh.
And
That's
long
hard.
story short, the answer is play cassette piece. That's it.
It's pretty good. Cassette Piece is probably one of the top 10. I actually think Digimon Cybersleuth is really fucking.
Okay, well, if we're also including games that, well, yeah, I guess I would include that as a game that's just ripping off of Pokemon, thanks to the boom. Yeah, I guess Digimon.
Yeah.
Digimon's just ripping off Pokemon. Yeah, as usual.
I mean, they're better at storytelling, but yeah. Somebody's got to be. If Pokemon's not going to do it.
But yeah, I was mostly just talking about the weird monster taming indie game boom that seems to be coming off of Pokemon spite.
Yeah.
That's what I was talking about. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all I got for this episode.
Man, oh man. Yep. Play Mario RPG if you want to learn knowledge.
Play Paper Mario Thousand Year Door, it's better.
Yeah. Play a game that is not connected to its previous game. It's so fun to not have cohesion in your story.
You know what? I hope you guys play both games and enjoy both games, regardless of which one you think is better.
I got him to say it. There we go. About freaking time.
Oh, it's not like you were saying it. Good God.
I'm just over here waiting for you to finally try to meet me in the middle every time I draw out a fucking hand, and you're like, "No, fuck you, Thousand Year Door," and I'm like, "Okay, we'll go back to it."
Yeah, you weren't meeting in the middle either.
I was throwing you a bunch of lifelines.
They were very condescending lifelines. Thank you very much.
No. I was very clear and hey, well, I understand it's a great game. It's a phenomenal. It has not done this. It's just factual.
And I was constantly giving you lifelines on RPG. I was like, yeah, Mario RPG is great. It basically everything the Thousand Year Door is that on RPG came out did first. It's like, yeah, no, I was giving you lifelines too. So,
I mean, you actually would pivot immediately into, but it did do this. I don't know this. Who do you know this from? I know this.
I know.
So, yeah.
I gotta make my points too. You don't get to just make your points, throw out a lifeline, and be like, oh, he didn't take out. He's making his points. He clearly didn't take the lifeline.
Oh no, because you kept pivoting.
I know. I had more points to make.
My point. No. What I mean is you need to finish making the points that I asked about before you continue your thought. Well, otherwise, you haven't actually answered my question.
Yeah, well,
You know how I answered all of yours?
I don't know if you haven't noticed. I can be a little ADHD brained. I'm a little back
and
forth. It's not like I call this Derailed the series because my brain can't stay on one point.
I get it. That's why I had to keep grabbing you back.
Squirrel back and forth. But just know that I will meet you in the middle eventually. It's not like I came out being like Mario RPG is a bad game. Nobody should ever play it. No. That's Super Paper Mario. No, no, I'm joking.
I mean, whatever you say, bud.
Whatever I say. No, Super Paper Mario is great.
Yeah. Over here being all petty. I was okay. What do you say, man?
You guys gotta understand. No, you guys gotta understand why I rag on Super Paper Mario around Joey. Ever since we were in started to hang out when we were starting Game of Fraud, I would always just start our discussions with yo, I think Thousand Year Door is way better than Super Paper Mario, and he would defend Super Paper Mario. So it's like.
Well, because you would say you didn't think Super Paper Mario was good. It wasn't because you said Thousand Year Door was better.
So, I will defend myself. That was part of my usual brain rot where I try to leave with the negatives. And then and then you question my negatives, and then I have to defend the negatives, and then the entire discussion is negative, where I'm like, God damn it, that's not the point I wanted to make. I want to be a little bit more positive.
But you started with the wrong point.
I know.
Like, but
No,
I still
I
think
admit that's my brain rot where I try to get the negatives
I
out and then I get bogged down in the negatives.
I still think Super has a better story because it has more cohesion, more characters to tie to, and
And
more
I just
emotional
think
drive.
Super's story is a bit overrated, but just a bit.
I mean,
just a
if
bit.
you like Thousand Year Door's story, but you think that one's overrated, that God, I gotta tell you something, buddy. You don't really have a lot of characters that do anything for you in that game that like suffer any type of fate.
I mean, for 90% of Super, you don't have that either.
Yeah, but like 10% is 100% more than 0%. So like,
No, it's only
bucket
10%
scrub.
more than 0%.
No, actually, it's infinitely more than 0% because 0% is nothing. So how's that sound, bud?
Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, I'll take my great world building and funny characters and wacky scenarios
Okay,
over
world building.
that
It's
10%.
just okay world. It's just okay world building. It's not even that great.
I think it's fine. Anyways, yeah.
Like the world building isn't the reason that game
You know
is so
what?
good.
We're gonna start this whole argument again, but no, we gotta end this episode. I can smell the argument building again. I'm ending it. I'm cutting it now.
I actually was gonna finish there, but yeah.
Derail.
Just okay
I'm
world
derailing this forcibly.
World
with
building
a
is
ramp.
kind of okay.
Anyways, I hope y'all have fun.
They built it with paper mache.
Hope y'all had fun. Bye. Say bye, Joey.
Oh shit! Before we go, we have to talk about the other things that we waste. Fucking idiot! God damn it! Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 are getting remasters. That's actually pretty good. Hopefully, we can see them get some remasters of the fudging awful controls. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is coming out, which means they'll probably port the first game as well. Which is, I don't know why they're starting with 2.
It's so mid.
Splatoon 3 is getting an expansion pass. I actually think Splatoon is kind of a mid-game series. But then again, I also agree that I am in the minority in that.
Okay, with Splatoon specifically, I feel like they've done the same thing 3 times in a row, and it's definitely worn a lot of specialness off of it.
What else? Wave 6 of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe's Booster Course Pass. I don't know. This is just they're making money. That's all they're doing. That's what they're looking to do.
More stages.
Detective Pikachu Returns is going to be awesome. That's super funny. I love it.
I've never played the first one. I don't know anything, but I did like Ryan Reynolds in the movie.
It's so goofy. He sounds like he chain smokes cigarettes and he drinks coffee. And then there's an indie game called Horizon Chase that was they're making the sequel to it. It's a fun little racing game.
It was a remake. I don't know.
Horizon Chase 2.
I don't know.
Horizon Chase 2 Horizon Chase 1 was an indie game. The sequel is just going to be a fun little racing game. Sagas, Emerald Beyond arrives. Emerald Beyond looks like it's going to be really fun. It looks really solid, well made. If you like free exploration, that is the one to go to. Unicorn Overlord looks like it's going to be interesting. They're probably going to have their name banner be the same as fucking Triangle Squares or I
will say Unicorn Crossroads is definitely the one to watch for a while. Don't let that one fly under your radar. Keep
WarioWare Move It. If you have family, WarioWare Move It. Get it. WarioWare is great for families.
Wargroove.
Where's that?
Wargroove 2. Well, if it's the difference between Advance Wars 1 and Advance Wars 2, it's going to be boring. But if it's the difference between Advance Wars 2 and Advance Wars Dual Strike, get Wargroove 2.
It looks like it's upgrading pretty well and it's pretty cheap. Even if it's not as good as one of those ones, I would buy it.
They were just like,
it's
hey, look at
$15.
all these new factions, but like the factions don't do anything.
It's $15 though. So like if you enjoy games like that, it's worth a way cheaper price than getting Advance Wars Remake.
Fair enough.
Uden Chronicles, a game that me and I believe you backed it.
Yes, I have backed it. I will
be
playing that game for free.
That's finally coming out in April.
April?
Get it.
I thought it was closer than that.
April. Yep, April.
Eh.
So big thing, knowledge about this game. It's one of the top 3 most kickstarted video games on Kickstarter.
Last I looked, it was
Made
number
over
2,
5.
but
It got knocked out by both Shenmue and that one with the Devil May Cry-esque. Not Devil May Cry, sorry, the Castlevania-esque one with Miriam, the Castlevania-like game, and Shenmue 3 kicked it out.
gotcha.
But this game is made by a company built out of the devs to make the Suikoden games back when they owned the RPG series over in Japan. This game looks to be one of the best RPGs made in this style in recent years. I would recommend it heavily. Not that's a good amount. Another Code Recollection coming out. Looks interesting. It includes a bunch of stuff. Think of it like just a compendium of older games from Another Code.
Gotcha.
Simple, fun, enjoyable games. Other than that, though, they're tossing Dave the Diver on. Bone Champ is getting more shit.
Spy X Family game. You know, that's going to be a nice, wholesome thing until the dog touches you and you get a vision of your dad getting blown up and you have to stop him.
What? What?
That's something that happened in the anime.
In Trombone Champ?
No, Spy X Family.
Oh, I didn't even mention that one, dude.
I did.
Oh, I was like, I
Did
just
you not hear
mentioned
me
Trombone
mention it?
Champ.
Did my mic
No,
drop pick it up?
No.
Well,
That's gonna be really off-putting to some people.
You know
Trombone
what?
Champ, gives you war flashbacks.
I'm gonna be honest. I would not put it over Trombone Tramp to do something like that for funny. Just to be funny about it.
Like, hey, he wants to play an audio clip of the Towers.
Just one song that's like a war flashback.
Awful. It's just terrible.
You know, it's a trombone. You gotta get the tap song. You know, the military taps, and then.
Oh my god.
And then it's just like
Oh,
a
I
war
hate
flashback.
it already.
that's your Trombone Champ DLC right there.
I hate it already.
So yeah, I think is that all?
Yeah, no, I think that's all we really had to talk about.
Yeah, okay. Well, now we're done. Now that there's nothing to derail this conversation, unless you got anything else to say, Joey.
1,000-Year Door was made.
Well, yeah.
Oh, it doesn't feel good, does it?
As mid as your face, bye!